Hello,
Wow.
everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we talk about the classic Quantum Leap series that ran between 1989 to 1993, starring Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. And today we're going to be talking about the season 5 episode called Return of the Evil Leaper. It is the 16th episode of the fifth season, fifth and final season. And for those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and I have this wonderful panel of gentlemen here. Although there may be other guests that'll arrive.
They
You know,
might come
people.
late. They might come late. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. You know how it is. People are coming back from work, and then there's been a lot of stuff going on. But there's always surprises here. In any case, for those who don't know, this is Ro from the Sacrif Podcast. Ro is a broadcast news veteran. He deals with the production behind the scenes of news and technical stuff. He has a lot of knowledge about the behind the scenes stuff, and he brings that kind of knowledge also when we go over a show like Quantum Leap. He also has his own podcast called the Sacrif Podcast. He's also the co-founder of a network of other podcast network, and we're always happy to hang out with him here. How's it going, Ro?
It's going fantastic. I had a really good time a couple of minutes before we went live, chatting with your chat group. It's always wonderful to see so many people in here before we even go live. They're having their own conversations. We have some new folks in the chat, and I think once we get into that space, it'd be really cool to tell them hello there.
Well, I know there's Julie Evans, and Julie Evans, I've seen her recently. I feel like she discovered some of our earlier episodes, so
Yeah,
she's been sort of catching up. And I responded to one of her comments on them, and I told her we do this stream every week, and I guess she actually saw it.
beautiful.
Uh, and that's really, I think, a lot of this stuff that happened here has been organic, where some people initially saw me make videos about why I didn't like the new Quantum Leap series, and they ended up here. Some people actually started looking for the kind of streams that we do that talk about the classic series, and then just kind of stuck around with us. And I appreciate everybody. I see that Nick is here. He gave a $5 super chat, which is very kind of him.
Very
Sorry,
nice.
running late, almost there. That's cool, man. People do the best they can, and I understand that. I myself, by the way, held up this show for at least 5 minutes because I ended up going to the wrong stream. I know that sounds strange, but I actually went and I clicked on the wrong button, and I was in a room, and I thought to myself, why is nobody showing up? And there was nobody in the chat. It was the weirdest thing. It was like the Twilight Zone, but
It
now
happens.
it's all
It
figured
happens.
out.
It happens.
Everybody, things happen. That's how it works.
It's
In
true.
any case, today it's sort of a unique episode. I would say, Ro. It's sort of it gets filed under those kind of offbeat, unique episodes that they were trying to do in this fifth
Yeah.
season.
They brought back the Evil Leaper, and they have a nice little recap at the beginning of this one, just to remind folks where we've seen this premise before. And yeah, it's an interesting one. I want to feel like the last few episodes of this season have been one of those episodes where they swing, and they for me a lot of times this season has really missed. This one, I feel like they're kind of getting back into the groove, and obviously the Evil Leaper is a concept that they introduced a while back, a little bit back. But I feel like they're getting back into the groove, and kind of setting things back to, all right, we know what kind of works, let's go with that. And I think the writing for this week's episode kind of shows that, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, there's certain things that they tried in this season. Some of them, a lot of swings, and there were a good amount of misses too. I don't think now, especially when we've been watching this fifth season again. I don't know that I walk away from this season thinking it's the best season. I'm
Right.
thinking that it's probably the weakest season out of the five. But I will say that along with the weakness, it is the most daring in a way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the daring. I like that they tried to dare. It's kind of sad that the daring only came when the network was just kind of trying to get rid of them and they were scrambling and didn't know what to do, I still kind of appreciate their thought process. Even these guys, when they're kind of in a bad mood and it looks like everything is crumbling, they still came up with some interesting ideas.
Sure.
A lot of times either there's an idea there and the execution isn't good, or sometimes even the idea isn't good and they just, didn't really do the right things with it. It's a problematic season, but I would say that this episode for me is probably one of the better ones if I compare it to some of the other ones we've seen.
I agree. And welcome, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Nick is here. I'll go quickly. The intro. He's a minister in his local town. He's a local locksmith. He helps the sheriff and the fire department. He has his own ranch. He raises goats, and he's an expert in science fiction. And he has his own channel where he talks about pop culture, the Backyard Tardis, which you should subscribe to. And he's a member of the Red 5 Network, which is that network of podcasters that I told you that Ro co-founded. Yes. Did I miss anything, Nick?
No, you got the goats in, you got the minister in.
Everything, the minister and the goats.
And it was the minister part that was keeping me late today, so I apologize for that.
It's okay, Nick. I mean, you do so many things. We always, we're grateful that you hang out with us. And I also understand that the fact that you're usually in your secret hideout van, perhaps Mrs. Nick is not always so happy with all of these.
Oh no, I don't have a problem. It's just I don't have anywhere in the house to really set up, and there would be no quiet. There would be no quiet between
I understand.
dogs, TVs running, all that. My house is an older home built in the 40s, so
I see.
There's no sound barrier in those walls.
I understand. Well, that's a problem. You can do the thing where you buy egg cartons.
Mm-hmm.
You would need a lot of egg cartons.
A lot of egg cartons. Did I say something dumb though? I thought that egg cartons are supposed to absorb the sound.
Yeah, they do. That's a poor man's soundproofing.
Well, poor man is us, and that's probably what I would do. In any case, we're happy to have you here, and we definitely have this interesting episode this week. I guess before we sort of jump into it, I thought that the first Evil Leaper one was interesting. I thought it was an interesting idea. I almost feel like this was a trilogy, if you think about it. We had another thing called Trilogy, which was a trilogy, but in a way, this was also a trilogy. If you really think, because there was one.
Yeah, they could have put this all back to back. And you were talking about different names. Some places I saw call this Evil Leaper 2. Yeah. And some call it The Return of the Evil Leaper.
I always thought it was The Return of the Evil Leaper. That's what I knew.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I always considered it The Return of the Evil Leaper. What does it say on the title card? Let's look when we go into it.
Yeah.
Let me try to share it. By the way, I think I saw Lisa Catrine here. She's back. She's been cycling a lot. She's very like nice. The world champion of cycling or something.
And Tex Rogers, I saw in the chat, he had an accident, but he's still here. He's a trooper.
And he says that on the Roku stream it says Evil Leaper 2. So that's interesting.
Let's see what it says on the file itself.
Yeah.
And I saw Tracy Alexander here, which was also nice.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy sometimes shows up, but then she doesn't say anything, so it's more confusing. But Matthew McGee is here. The DVT says Return of the Evil Leaper. Say hi to Chrissy, Matthew. And Lisa Catrine, not quite the champion of the world. I would say you're the Lance Armstrong of cycling, but that's probably not a good thing to say anymore.
Not right.
Although I'm just going to say this. If they all did what he did, and he did that too, and they were all doing it, then he still was the best, because between all the people that were doing the same thing, he was faster than they were. I know that sounds
yeah. It's a little bit of
sounds bad. I know how that sounds. I'm just saying that at the end it turned out that they were all doing it, so he was the fastest one that was doing it. But never mind, we won't get into that. Forget I ever said anything. Let me see for a second.
That's like John Cena recently made a comment about the fact that he said he's never done drugs, and I'm like, well, He must have a definition on drugs then, because there's no way that man hasn't done steroids.
Wait, who? John Cena? You say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to accuse, but all those type of big wrestling guys, how much muscle can you have? At some point, you can kind of start thinking, well, that sure is a lot of muscle.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's another kind of Lance situation that I'm sure if me and John Cena like did the same things, he would look like him, and I maybe would just look like a half normal person. So he's probably more athletic and has more muscles, and he does all the work in the gym and whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it looks like maybe there's certain things that help him, like maybe he takes a lot of vitamins and eats spinach.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, I don't know how we got to talking about that. In any case,
you want to mute it?
Oh, yes.
Theorizing that one can time travel within its own lifetime.
So it's funny. I was joking last week when I was talking about how it would jump the shark if he became a superhero. And I thought he was going to be some sort of daredevil stunt guy.
Right.
Or something in this. But no, it's a guy with some mental disorders that is acting as a superhero.
Which I thought was a good little twist on that character. I mean, trauma can shape anyone to do weird stuff.
Well, it's people do this. There was I'm sure it still probably happens in some of the bigger cities like for Euro, but that fad for a while where people were dressing up in costumes and doing good citizen things to be superheroes. We had one in my area. The guy looked like he was dressed all in black, but like Arrow from the CW show.
Mm.
And he was going around patrolling and protecting. He made me do his lair and secure that. It was the most secure tough shed ever, but I haven't seen him in a while, so either he got shot or he got arrested.
That's funny.
Well, I once went to Comic-Con dressed as Darkman, sort of like Darkman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest I've been to being a superhero. I don't know.
Well,
here in Chicago, we used to have a guy who dressed up as Batman and Spider-Man. If anybody is interested, look up Spider Dan in Chicago. And he was a nuisance because he would climb outside of the buildings, the Standard Oil building. He dressed up as Batman and climbed. There's a very large sculpture of a baseball bat in our downtown area, and he climbed on the outside of it. And then got arrested when he came back down. But he wasn't doing anything good for citizens. He was just making a spectacle of himself.
I see. Well, everybody does whatever they can. I guess before we jump in, just like we usually do, just a round of a few comments. Generally speaking, before we hop in here.
Yeah.
You don't have to say if you liked it or not, but just something, maybe a sentence row before we start, and then Nick.
Well, like I was mentioning, I like this episode, and I like the concept of the evil leaper. Definitely like the actress. She's easy on. She reminds me of Anna de Armas. She's got those very beautiful, piercing eyes.
I agree with you.
But I like the team up. I like the team up of the evil leaper and what's her Al's character's name. But I like that. I like the fact that they kind of twist this concept on its end and started to subvert my expectations, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do have to say that the casting of Renee something, I don't remember her name.
Coleman.
You know what? I haven't seen much, I think, of Renee Coleman. I don't remember if I saw her afterwards anywhere, but I did actually like her on this show. And yes, she has a very, very kind of specific look.
Zoe, yeah. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, so I agree. It helps. It's nice. it's nice that not only did they bring an evil leaper, but they also brought a lady that wasn't,
And it
terrible.
shakes things up a bit for, especially a show that has lasted this long, back in the day, but it does kind of shake things up a little bit. And I think that's what they wanted to do. Unfortunately, I think it was a little too late, but I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a mess of a season, but within this mess, they were trying something. So, Nick, a few sentences before we dive in here.
I'm very mixed on this episode. There's things I love about it, things I didn't like about it, and things that I'm not sure how I feel about it. But overall, I'd say I like the episode, but there were some tropes that have been recent that I didn't like, but then I liked how it was done in this episode, but I overall don't like that happens with him mind melding. But I felt like the Al and Sam interaction was a little off. This episode, I mean, I know technically it kind of is a two-parter, but I wanted more fleshing out of the story of this episode. I kind of felt there were too many things going on, dealing with the guy's trauma and that kind of stuff, solving the ending of the thing, and then all the stuff going on with it. It just seemed like a lot going on, and I would have liked more interaction between the evil leaper and her hologram. I would have liked more action between Sam and Al, and kind of just that fleshed out. And then I also, the stuff in the waiting room was interesting, so I wanted more of that. But there's time restraints, and so I felt like it was a lot going on in this episode to cover in 45 minutes.
And it's too bad too, because obviously this is something that they wanted to try either in a spin-off show or a subsequent sixth episode or sixth season. They never got to do that, but I think you probably would have gotten your wish, just to kind of get a little bit more of a history of them as the evil leapers. And I think that that would have been interesting. That would have shook things up a little bit.
I agree with you, Nick. I think that I always give credit when somebody is trying to do something ambitious. I think that this season, even in these moments that they try an idea that I really like, in some cases you could tell how rushed they were. Something like this with so many moving parts may have been better as a 90-minute episode. Maybe it would have been better as a two-parter just to focus on this story right here. The idea of the guy in the waiting room, what was happening with him, the young guy, Sam here, the evil leaper, what she's going through, these college kids, everything together, it does feel kind of rushed for a 45-minute episode. And it's very, very ambitious. And with all of that being said, there's a part of me that I like it when somebody says, hey, why don't we just try this thing? We've never done this before. What happens if we do this? And I kind of like that. I always like to give at least a few points when somebody's like, they've watched this show already, I don't know, 80-something episodes until now. Why don't we do this? They've never seen this before. I kind of appreciate that, even if I agree that this season, even when they do that, they don't always, stick the landing, or they don't always execute it in the best possible way. But considering some of the misfires that they had this season, I think that this one at least was watchable. You know what I mean? It wasn't like there have been bigger, it's not Blood Moon or I don't know what, the Tale of Two Sweeties or whatever that was.
Right.
So, and I agree with you in some extent. It's just like, some shows during COVID, we give them a little bit of a pass, like, oh, it's not that great, but we understand that, like, there were things beyond, and it's the same here, but it's still, if it isn't enjoyable, you got to be honest with that. It's just, it's not good. One of the things I noticed though with this one, in the past, we have actually had the complaint when there's one that is very Al or Sam backstory heavy, that the actual event at the Leaf is almost a nothing burger. Well, there was one like when we were going back in time for Alan, it was like the actual point of the leap was like second nature, and then like at the very end, they're like, "Oh yeah, I got to do this thing, and so I can leap." But it was all about Al's backstory. I can't remember which episode that was, but in this one, that's not the case. This is a very interesting and compelling leap that would have made a great story even without the Evil Leaper.
Yeah.
But because you have the Evil Leaper, now it's like this interesting story and the interesting Evil Leaper story are battling it out for screen time.
It
and
needed
so
90 minutes minimum. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Or at least 90 minutes TV minutes even if it was, let's say, an hour and 10 minutes and then 20 minutes of commercials or whatever you want to call it. I still think we would have had a little more time to deal with all these different things, because you're right, they're jumping from thing to thing. But you know what? Let's us jump into it as well, and we'll start going through this. So we were doing this whole thing, and we'll be the leap home, and then he's here, and he's like, "Oh boy," and then oh no, it's the annoying one.
Down, down,
bum, bum, bum,
down.
bum, bum, bum.
Dun, 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 dun. Like that.
Yes, that's the one.
Right.
Yeah. What a disservice to the original theme.
It was. Again, even this, I kind of appreciated that they were trying to do something upbeat, but it's like it doesn't. It's not as iconic as the original one.
It bothers me less now. Now that
it's because you got used to it,
right? You get used to it.
But if I were to watch an episode from a season before this, right before this episode, it would probably bother me more.
I still think that the reveal in the first one was the coolest thing. That, like, I remember even as a kid, I loved it. Like, I loved that suddenly there was like a different person, because I didn't see it coming. See, that's another thing. Here, the second they called it the Return of the Evil Leaper, and everybody knows what it is the second you're pressing play, they kind of took away a little bit of the mystery.
That would have been great if you didn't see any of this preview stuff, and then you got surprised like the second they did it in the actual show.
This is the problem. They were network TV, and they probably were worried in syndication and things like that. They're probably worried that the people wouldn't even know what this is. Go on, Nick. Sorry.
I was going to say the same thing. Like all this preview stuff, it's because of that. A lot of shows, if they had connectivity to past episodes, would do a catch you up reel. Yeah. And the other thing is that they're also, they're trying to get the ratings. So, they're blasting this, and they still do this to this day. If you're watching any cop procedural or anything like that, they are all week long advertising the next week's episode. Oh, there's this, there's a nuclear bomb threat. What will the FBI do? All week long, trying desperately to retain that audience, and that is just kind of the nature of television versus streaming. Streaming, they dump it all on you, and it's whether or not it holds your attention to not hit no, don't play next.
Right.
I feel like it's the Mandela effect. I could have sworn that it was Return of the Evil Leaper, but it says Evil Leaper 2. So either there were different versions of it, or I just, over the years, from the different streaming services and DVDs and everything, that they call it something else. Maybe I just, at some point, I forgot what the original
No,
name
it has, like, I looked, it's different in different places, and some of it says Evil Leaper 2, and some says Return of the Evil Leaper.
Like the script right now at the top of the page says Return of the Evil Leaper.
When you
and the next one is Evil Leaper 3, but it has another name too. So
if you click on Roku now and you click on that stream, because I have CDs and stuff, if you click on Roku, does it say Return of the Evil Leaper, like on the title itself, or just on the streaming service? But then when you click, it says Evil Leaper 2. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to do a whole font gate out of it, but I am curious what they were doing here.
But what's funny? I'm taking a look.
Return of the Evil Leaper.
Oh yeah. And I'm looking at the DVD, and it says "Revenge of the Evil Leaper," which is the second part.
And that's the next one, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is but okay. So now I feel like I'm not crazy. They said Evil Leaper 2, and then they called it Return of the Evil Leaper. Man, it feels like they themselves didn't quite know what they were doing, because this is all over the place.
Technically DVDs, not CDs.
This is Fontgate all over again.
Titlegate.
I thought we called it Fontgate for some reason.
Wasn't Fontgate when when the titles had different fonts?
Yes.
Yes.
So this one is not. This is Titlegate. It's not Fontgate. You're right.
Yeah, we had Fontgate and Fontgate 2.
Anyhow,
now we have Titlegate.
So
we had didn't we have Titlegate during the trilogy 2 or something?
Yes. There was.
So this is Titlegate 2.
There was the one where I think he was in Lee Harvey Oswald. That was Titlegate as well.
DVDs. Ron, DVDs.
Anyhow, back to this thing. So guest starring Renee Coleman. He's here. He manages, they kind of toss him off the car. He manages they stop, and then
and don't forget, it's Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser shows up himself.
Yeah.
I have to say, no matter what age he is, he brings the same kind of vibe. He can do that douchey thing that he does.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of cool. He's very much him. It's been I don't know how many years, but he's
looked the same ever since.
Right.
He reminds me so much of his Starship Troopers.
Yes, he does. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
This costume that he's wearing, this looks like some Flash costume where they didn't have the rights to Flash. So like the Halloween City had like this generic
called Super Fast Guy.
Yeah.
Fast Man.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it kind of does feel like him. But he basically managed to stop. The thing is that Sam's character, he leaps into this guy who's kind of a bit nutty, and he thinks he's the Midnight Marauder, and he's trying to stop this thing from happening because he thinks these chicken fights are dangerous, but they're doing it for some kind of pledge for some fraternity, and that's the reason he's here. There's a bit of a scuffle here, and Neil Patrick Harris. And then the police officer shows up, and Neil Patrick Harris gives some kind of bogus excuse for what they're doing here. And I guess, Sam kind of goes along with it, if I remember correctly.
Well, no, I think he said something else. But the officer, the way he gave him a pass, I kind of figure like maybe this officer used to be part of this fraternity or buddies with it, because he was like, oh, you do this and I'll just forget that I saw all that up there.
Right. I see what you're saying. I was early in the morning when I did the rewatch for this, and I hadn't watched it in a few years, so it's good you're here. I do have from the same place that Marla usually sends us a link. I actually went and I saw the script, but any Harvey Laidman, that's Tex, that's who directed it. But yeah, if I have any inaccuracies, you guys tell me. In any case, now he's back in his dorm room. How would he know how to get back to his dorm room?
It doesn't say, but maybe, they all came together and maybe they just drove back together.
How would he know which room is his?
I don't know.
Maybe when they cut out the 40 minutes of him wandering around the dorm trying to figure out who he is.
Right.
Maybe he pulled out his wallet, saw his ID, went to the school registry, and figured out what dorm was his.
Yeah, I think that nobody. That's the thing, that I think that at this point in the show, they're not even thinking about this stuff. They don't care. They're just everybody will assume he got here somehow. They're not even spending time, and they really don't have time to spend on it either. So here, I guess
I like the look of the dirt, but I find it funny when he's wearing the mask, he didn't look that dirty.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's only after he pulls it off that it's like, did they remember to add that much? Like they must have. It must not have had enough of a contrast that they're like, "Ooh, makeup, come add some more."
Right.
You're probably right. So I think initially Al's like, Sam, you saved them. They were both supposed to die. And then I think Sam's like, well, if that's the case, then we were already supposed to leap. And then this guy walks in. His name is like Jack or something like that. And he's his roommate, but he also wants to pledge to this fraternity. And Sam is like, giving him a hard time. Why is he doing that? And then there's something about how stupid it is or something like that, but he says the wrong thing because this guy's father and grandfather, whatever, they're alumni of the same stupid fraternity.
Right.
So now he said the wrong thing. And,
right.
I guess to create some tension or something like that. Remind me what else, what they're bickering about here, something like that. I wasn't off.
So it's his roommate's a pretty cool dude. He likes him. He's okay with him. However, he's like the third generation going to be in this fraternity. So he's like, man, you got to lighten up. Like, I like you, but like, this is not cool. You can't be doing this. And he's like, why do you even want to be in that dumb or with those idiots or something like that? And Al's like, that was the wrong thing to say.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So but other than that, like, he quickly like kind of turns around and says, oh, hey, let's, hang out or something, he doesn't hold animosity towards Sam's character. So they must be good roommates.
Right.
That's true. Well, I guess let's see what more goes on here. Does he understand what his mission is here? Or is this the part already that Al's like, Sam, you wouldn't believe the guy that leapt into the waiting room. He's a complete nutball. Is it something like that?
He is, and he asks him if he knows why. And he's like, well, we're kind of unsure, but you need to get this guy to stop. But it's just, he says, you just need to, stop being the superhero. But I think that might come later. But one thing that I thought was interesting about this is that in the previous Evil Leaper episode, they were undoing something that he put right. But in this one, these are people he hasn't leaped into before. So they're just taking somebody who had a good life and they're wrecking it. And but I kind of liked that concept of undoing a previous leap. And so I think it would be interesting if the show had continued on, if they leapt into these people at an earlier point later on.
Mm.
So like Sam isn't aware of it, but he's already helped these people, which is a concept I don't think the show has ever done, of like going in earlier to a leap that he's already done.
Right.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think that I don't what happens. He doesn't realize it's her until he's in the.
But it's weird though. I was trying to remember last time they touched each other and they realized, like, here they shake hands. And he doesn't see her, but she sees him. I was a little confused.
No, she doesn't see him either.
Right. She doesn't see him and he doesn't. Right.
But aren't they touching though?
Okay. I think I understand what happened here. What happened here is originally the guy that Sam leaped into and all that stuff, there were people supposed to die there. Him leaping in and doing whatever he did, he stopped that. Now, according to the logic of the show, Aaliyah is being sent here as the evil leaper because now they want to fix whatever he just fixed. They want to undo that. They're trying to make sure that kid or whatever that they do die, including the one that Sam leaped into. They want all that bad stuff to happen. Now, I feel like after he shook her hand, only then she leaped into him, because if they touch each other, that's when they actually reveal they can figure out that they know their real identity if they touch each other.
And they do that later, I guess.
So they established later in the episode that she actually leaped in before Sam, and she's the reason why they were going to die. Like her mission was to egg him on to the point where he would. So she was playing these guys so that they would.
Now? So I'm with Ro. I don't understand this. How did he shake her hand and then she appeared? I don't get it.
Before they touched, it wasn't like they did like a full embrace, and that's when they revealed. I think it was a poor decision to do the reveal the way they did at the moment of them touching, because it makes you think that suddenly they see each other and then they don't act that way.
Here, you mean?
Right, yeah.
Right. I think it would have been better to. I think it would have been better to not show that right there, and then to have the Evil Leaper hologram come in and have the change happen then.
I'm with Tex.
And follow her.
I thought that this meant that she leaped in here. I thought that later in the episode they explained to her that the reason she's here is to ruin the thing that Sam fixed. I never realized that she was here before Sam. This is the part that I really am now confused. Like I'm having a whole episode now. Ro, didn't she come here to ruin what Sam did? Isn't that what did you understand that as well?
Yes. So,
but when they're talking, when her and the other, like they're talking about it, they say something of, what happened? He was supposed to die. Why? Like, how did she says something to that effect of like, they were both supposed to die in that. What happened? And then the Evil Leaper hologram, I'm sorry, I can't think of her name right now.
Zoe.
Zoe. So Zoe hears him say Al, and she's like,
it's
Beckett.
Right. Yeah.
And but when they're having that conversation, she's like, everything was set up perfect. They were supposed to die. Why didn't they?
So these two touch, and then they let go.
And then she leaps in.
And then she leaps in. Okay.
Listen, I understand one thing. It is suggested that just like Sam leaps, once they stop touching, she leaped into this lady. Because any other situation, he would have known who she is. It has to be that way. Now, if there's another separate plot hole that Zoe said you were here in advance to do this, it's very, very strange. And now I'm totally... Ro, you can look at the script if you want. I'm not really sure what happened, but in any case... at this point, she doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean they should have shot it in a different way, because first of all, they were too close. You really couldn't see that they weren't touching anymore, and I thought they did touch. So here's Zoe. Is this
Zoe only figures out that Sam is Sam when she hears him talking to Al.
Right.
Later on in the episode,
but not here.
Not here.
Shortly, she's talking with her.
College guys.
This is stock footage.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say it, Ro. You said nothing, which is uncharacteristic of you. So here he is in the library. Doesn't he discover her in the library?
Yes, a little bit ahead of this.
And then what's her end game? She's pretending that she likes him even though she doesn't like him. And I think she also even says something to Neil Patrick Harris that kind of taunting him. Now this guy is here and Al's trying to get to the bottom of like what makes him so erratic and strange.
Is that David Cornsweat?
It's not. No.
You know, it's interesting because this flashback confused the hell out of me too.
I'm pretty sure Cornsweat wasn't even a teen at this point.
Right? Yeah.
I don't even know if he existed at this point. Yeah.
I feel too like one of the things that they wanted to try new stuff, and I think maybe it was because of the Dr. Ruth episode, was more stuff in the what do you call it, in the green room, in the holding room.
Much like the Dr. Ruth, all this stuff, the Harvey Oswald, like from the moment all the stuff they introduced in that, it feels like
Thank you, Ted.
Rosario introduced a bunch of stuff in that. He introduced more stuff in the waiting room. He introduced the mind melding, and it feels like he opened up a new toy box to the writer room.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so, because I know for a fact that he didn't work on the Evil Leaper episodes were not his. Because he actually talked about that in that interview I watched, that he actually didn't like the idea of the Evil Leaper, but they needed episodes and they needed new stuff.
Huh.
And so, but it just feels like he opened up this can of worms by introducing this new stuff to canon, and everybody wants to try it out. Everybody wants to play with it.
And
thank you, everybody, for telling me that it was the waiting room.
the waiting room. What happened to Nick?
Did I go away?
I can't tell if
he's there.
He's here?
Yeah, he's here. I see.
I thought he froze, but he was just looking like he froze.
Yeah, he was just looking at.
I froze earlier, but when I first got on,
So wait,
I was worried.
Did he actually touch her in this? He didn't touch her here yet, right?
No. You know what?
No.
They're talking about getting together and helping each other study, and he revealed something. He said something. Oh wow, something about women's rights or something, or
right. And then I think that at this point, instead of going on the date, he hears that this other guy is doing something, so he decides that he's going to be the Midnight Marauder. Completely forgets about his date.
So here's where I kind of had mixed feelings. I don't like the mind melding thing.
I don't think anybody
done it in the.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Go on.
In the past when they've kind of done things like this, it has been with people who are mentally unstable, and this guy is obviously mentally unstable. So I'm like, okay, that's the Dr. Ruth thing didn't make sense. There's no reason for that, but with Harvey, there was the one season before where he mentally wasn't there, but there was all that stuff going on when he was in the mental hospital, and or even with Jimmy, there's a little bit of that, but some of that's it's once again. So I kind of like it, but one of the things that I did like was when he would go into cheesy Silver Age type comic descriptions.
Yeah, I kind of like
that. The Midnight Marauder would never stand aside,
Yes.
It was just like funny. He'd like snap to and read it like he was Adam West.
Or David Cornsweet.
Right.
Yeah.
In any case, I did like there was something that I kind of liked, that when they saw him saying it, she figured out that it was Sam. Maybe It was a bit too easy for her to figure out. Could you really hear what he was saying from across the parking lot? But whatever. I mean, it was kind of cool that she figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, they had to bring that in.
Yeah, I mean, they had to do something, and I feel like this is the best they can do. I think that it would have been even better if it was a more intimate scene where maybe Zoe is walking by herself, because she's starting to think that this guy is unpredictable, and she follows him. She zeroes in on him, and then she catches Sam suddenly saying, why did I leave here? Whatever. The second she hears that, that's it. Then she knows it. And I think that would have been a stronger reveal, but it's okay. Instead, they use the same kind of reveal in the library, which I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah,
she's just standing there. She's like, "It's so delicious," or whatever it is when she's in the.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought it was a kind of bummer that Al and the Evil Leaper hologram can't see each other. Because I would have liked them to verbally spar.
I thought that would have been great too when they were first introduced in the first Evil Leaper episode. I thought that because they shared technology or something, that their brainwaves would at least accept the fact that they were in each other's proximity. That would have been great. And I think those two characters would have had a great dialogue back and forth, because they're both kind of the
They
same
would have
coin,
had
Right.
different sides, if you will.
like it would almost be like Bond villain dialogue, kind of like flirty antagonist.
It would
Yeah.
be wonderful. I really am
Yeah.
sorry that they didn't do that. I would have loved to have seen something like that. And what they could have done is that after the previous one, he could have said, "Sam, I had Gushy install an additional thing where now I can see other presence of other holograms," or some stupid thing like that.
Sure.
Because like as if they learned from the previous one, and now when it would happen, maybe the Al would have the edge before her. He would actually be able to see her, and she can't see him. I don't know. I feel like there was, or maybe they could both see each other. I feel like there was something here, a missed opportunity. You're right. It would have been fantastic to see these two guys
And
season 6.
start out.
the other thing that we don't get in this, and I think we might have got a little bit in the other one, but you know how we love when Sam's having a conversation with Al and another person? I would like to see that if they're not going to interact with each other, I want to see the two of them talking to both of their holograms and another person in the room, and just if it was written
That would
right,
have been great. Yeah.
that could be just like just
Back and
all
forth,
these separate
kind of like
conversations go back.
like a who's on first, that would have been fantastic. Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyhow, back to our thing. Here, I think that it turns out that this kid had parents, a family, and there was a guy that came and killed them, and he was a witness to this, and he couldn't help his family, and that's why.
It's Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And it was a cop. It was a cop that killed him, which was a weird. Like, it was a cop that like got laid off and had something happen, and he couldn't take it anymore, and he had a psychotic break, and so he went into this diner, and he was like out at the car getting something from the car, like his coat or something. And so he murdered his family, and then he got back just in time to see the cop blow his own brains out.
Yes,
Yeah,
I see what
yikes.
you mean.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
So, in any case, he's back here, and I really, they've such good casting. I feel like today, most of these TV shows don't do good casting like then. They really, I feel like this was a very well cast situation here.
Yeah.
Don't know again what Renee Coleman has done before or after, but I will always like her as the Evil Leaper. I think she was good in this role, and she had all of the qualities that you would expect an Evil Leaper to have.
Yes.
I'm having difficulty getting out of this one, Ro. You can help me out of it.
Just don't mix words. Just say it. But
I'm
this
not
is.
saying anything. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Ro.
He's reaching for her. This is where it
yeah,
happens.
And wait, so
Yeah, they discovered there. Yeah, nice little
they did the
90s
little
morph effect.
I like it.
I remember getting that plug-in for the very first time because we were shooting a movie in Tulsa, and we needed a morph effect. Yeah, morph was like brand new in the 90s.
It's the best. Like I remember when Michael Jackson did his video Black or White, and they were all morphing there at the end. That was considered the best thing that ever happened. People were like,
"Yeah,
wow.
I remember. Yep.
Wow, the morphing like that. Everybody was then. It was like the talk of the town.
Yep.
And then he's like, "No, we can leap together. We can do this. No, we don't. I'm not gonna do it together." I don't know what she said. I don't know how it's gonna happen. You don't know what they did to me last time. Well, this time, if we leap together, then it won't happen anymore.
Oh, and he was confused because he says, "I thought I saw you die last time I saw you."
Right.
It was so painful. Oh
no. Here's the other thing is before, it very much seemed like, they think they have a higher evil power, but I always thought it was a computer program directing them. But in this one, they very much make the computer program seem like it's that higher evil power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess now they're walking away, and then, like, you have her just standing here. Delicious. And then he's here.
Zoe's
I think that he
reveal.
doesn't actually tell Al this at the beginning, right? I don't think that in this scene he actually
No,
tells...
that is why. So you get why she wouldn't trust her companion,
Right.
but
was
her
that
companion? Well, her companion knows because she told her not to touch him. She
Right.
touches him. She views it. She sees it, but she doesn't confront her about it or use that in any way to get anything until like the very, very end. But Sam not being willing to trust Al with this information just feels off.
Well, and I think that they justified that with the whole mind melding thing. Like that seems to be kind of like a catch-all. Like if we want to alter their relationship, I'm just going to turn into somebody else.
And
That's
Sam doesn't. There's nothing that Sam does that seems out of the ordinary, but Al is immediately like, "You're not telling me something." It was like Sam was like, "No, I got to save these people and I got to do this." That seems exactly what Sam would say, but Al's like immediately knows, "You're lying to me. What aren't you telling me? What's really going on?"
Yeah.
And
well, it's 31 minutes into it, so they had to kind of rush and kind of resolve it.
Yeah.
Yep. So in any case, it's weird that he doesn't tell him, and then they go here, and I guess there was something about them doing the chicken race, but the brakes don't work on the car, right?
Yeah, they show them they cut the brakes.
Right.
I don't remember that they cut the brakes. I know that they mentioned it once they start rolling into the car, but I don't remember
something like that.
Yeah.
And Al's just trying to get this guy to resolve his issues or something, right? And it's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that all the people died. You were great. And then they go here.
Yeah, and the line, would they want you to die? Would they want you to live like this?
Yeah. It was actually quite an emotional thing. It's like you said, Nick. I feel like there was something very interesting here, and maybe shoving this into this thing kind of took away from that storyline.
Yeah, it felt like it was enough meat of its own to be an episode.
Right.
Whereas in the past, when they've done something that is kind of a deeper episode like this, that goes more into the show lore, they make the actual leap very simple and easy, and kind of where we'll say, well, the leap itself was kind of blah, but like all this backstory or all this expanding of the show lore, that was cool. And this one, I feel like the actual subject of the episode is done a disservice.
Yeah, and I think that maybe everything suffers from it. Once you try to put so many things in, you kind of suffer. I think that, like, if you remember the actress that plays Verbena Beeks, she's mentioned here, but you don't see her. I think that if this was an episode where Sam, leaped into a guy like this, and this guy's having some psychotic breakdown in that room, and actually Al brings in Beeks, which we haven't seen in a while, and let her do something, that could have been interesting. I feel like there were moments that they could have maybe used those kind of Gushy and Beeks and whatever. They used them so sparingly. I wouldn't have minded seeing, especially as the seasons progress and special occasions, it would have been nice to see them a little more, I think.
Yeah.
Like they were totally underutilized for some reason, but it's fine. Anyhow, with all that being said, there's still a lot that I like here, but yeah, there's certainly some issues. And I guess Zoe here, she's not aware But the thing is that she already knew that Aaliyah was planning something. So how did they manage
Right.
to
So
pull a fast one
so
on her? Remind me.
that's what I don't get. Like, she was there when they made the plane. She saw them do it, and yet she's not like confronting her and trying to stop her from getting in the car with Sam. Because like that's the whole thing is
Right. She
he's going to
said
prevent this.
delicious. She like as if this is all part of her plan. She said delicious. What was so delicious about it? She
But I
did
think
nothing.
she knows that the pranks were cut by those guys. So I think her delicious is that they're both going to fail, and I think if they were to word it out more, her plan could be that she's going to try when they die by going over, then they'll both evil leap. Because he's trying to complete his mission so that they both go together with him. But if they go over the cliff, then they'll both die. But it'll cause them both to leap with her.
I guess you're saying that Zoe thought that she was smart because they would both die, but then at the end they outsmarted her because they jumped out of the car and ended up leaping together.
Right, because Al gives them the information that the brakes have been cut.
Right. But when Al goes here and he keeps saying, "Oh, now it's 80%, now it's 90%," does he have Beaks then supposedly talking to the kid? What's going on now while this is happening? What are they waiting for with the 90 and 100%? I was watching it in the morning, and this was kind of the part that
I didn't understand it either.
Ro?
I don't know. I think they were waiting for the probability to be 100% based on the actions that they were doing here, not in the waiting room, because there's nobody in the waiting room. But Al is no longer in the waiting room to affect the guy in the waiting room. So I think they were waiting for their actions here to affect the percentage of what they were reading out. Like, let's just say they stopped, then the percentage would stop at whatever percentage, like it would stay at like 60. But because their intent and their ability to affect change in the actions that they are performing, that brought up the probability up higher and higher and higher the more they did their thing. I mean, it sounds like a reach and a kind of a weird plot hole explanation, but that's how I took it.
Yeah, and there were some weird things because
he's like, no, because basically he's like, what's the chance that Arnold survives? He's like, well, now it went to 10%, but there's a higher chance that you're going to die now. And then he's like, you need to tell me 100% because only then Lothos won't be able to leap Aaliyah out of here. It's very convoluted. Very. I think that basically the whole idea is that if they waited until the last minute to jump out, they'd be tricking Lothos or whatever it is by doing all of this. And at the end, they at the last minute jumped out of the car. They did the thing where they touch each other, and that was them outsmarting them. I don't think this was so well explained. I feel like it was too convoluted, and there was probably a better way to do it.
So we saw Al talking to him, explaining to him, and trying to reach him about why he shouldn't do this. And you would think that would work, but if they're almost implying that if Sam doesn't win this bet, that he's going to continue to do it. So
Oh, hey, Scribelight. He says Evil Leaper, they're not agents of the devil, they're network executives. Okay, same different. Yes. They're the network executives that threaten this show. That's what they are.
You know what it is? What we never really found out is this was actually just all part of the person of interest, and this is the computer versus Samaritan. Just two different computers, one good, one evil, fighting it out.
All right. Well, we have some people here. Ron Donofero and Tex Rogers are both correct that this is a real change. which is already a tradition here on the show. And Julie Evans says that the episode is turning out not to be too bad. No, it's not bad. I think that an episode like this, if more than anything, it's a missed opportunity. There's so many pieces here in this puzzle that I like. I like the story about Arnold and his background and the psychotic breakdown in the waiting room. I like that Sam is sort of in this kind of superhero-y type of thing, like you also described it, Nick. It's also kind of fun to see. I like that the evil leaper is here. I like that they're trying to outsmart that evil hologram. I like all of it. The question is that if it all comes together in a way that's bigger than the sum of its parts or not. And I almost feel like it's less than the sum of its parts, even though all the parts are great. And that's really the part that's frustrating.
It's an enjoyable mess, but it is one of those things. I mean, if you could imagine if you had an evil leaper in the Future Boy episode or something, think of a really good, fun episode and add this extra plot. It is, and it reminds me of, we had the episode where he was going to get Al arrested for rape and murder.
Right.
And the episode had a lot of good stuff, but there were, they wanted to have this whole Al enjoying memory lane with the guys type storyline that just didn't fit the seriousness of the episode.
No, didn't fit the seriousness of the whole situation, and the fact that Al, I think, at the beginning of the episodes is spending time with himself, not even going to see what the situation was with Sam, and terrible things were happening. So there were a lot of things. I agree with you.
I feel like leaping into a guy who believes himself to be a superhero is just an episode to have a lot of fun with. And the Evil Leaper is the most serious thing. I mean, the Evil Leaper is like the Murdoch episodes in MacGyver. This is like the big conflict. This should be the big drama of Quantum Leap, is him trying to help her. Is she going to accept his help? Is she going to betray him? All this stuff. There's an evil entity.
This was 2 episodes, basically. There should have been 2 different episodes. 1, the superhero with the guy in the waiting room. 2, Evil Leaper 2. And them trying to combine it. Not only that, they tried to combine it, but they didn't even have a surprise. It's another thing if, let's say, half the episode he thinks he's helping this kid, and suddenly at the end he touches somebody and she's the Evil Leaper, and then you're like, wow, she was the Evil Leaper. They cut away, they took away the reveal, which was a part that I really liked. I feel like if they were smart, she always appears when you don't expect her. You're doing whatever you're doing. You're thinking that you're on top of your game. You're fixing everything. And then suddenly something happens and you touch her and something's not going right. And you're like, what's happening? Why didn't this work? Then you touch somebody and then it's her. And then it's like, okay, I get it. Now you're ruining it for me. So I don't know. I feel like there were so many great ideas to be explored here. This feels like the most rushed one. Even with all of that being said, I don't hate it. I'm complaining and I don't hate it at the same time.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's we like this episode. We're getting the pumpkin pie, but they didn't put whipped cream on it, and we're upset that there wasn't whipped cream on it. It's good. It's a great episode. It's just you see the potential for so much more.
Right.
And that's where it gets a little frustrating. And in some ways, in that way, maybe this is sacrilege, but it feels very MCU.
I can see that.
If that makes sense.
It feels MCU in the more recent era when they just, but it feels more like, I'm trying to think of something that was in MCU in recent times.
Well, I'm actually thinking of, even take something like Endgame. There are some wonky things in Endgame.
Super Mario Brothers 3, nice to see you. I guess you're a blonde lady now. Yeah, it's changing all the time. Price of Reason Live NBC first aired this episode as a 2-hour event return of Revenge of the Evil Leaper, used to deliver us from evil as the saga sell for the 2-hour movie.
Interesting.
I see what you mean.
But,
I got you.
And I think that some of our frustration about the Leaper part of it will get resolved in the next episode. That doesn't get away like this guy who thinks he's a superhero. That plot's not going to continue on.
I'm sorry.
So
I don't mean to pry here. I'm just curious as to like who this person in the avatar is supposed to be.
Were you always a blonde? Super Mario Brothers?
This is so random. Super Mario Brothers has been Mario for like I don't know how many years, and now it's like who? Ron and Pharaoh. NBC first aired this as a 2-hour return and Revenge of the Evil Leaper. Yeah, I understand. Anyhow, maybe one day Super Mario Brothers 3 will reveal the mystery of what happened to Mario. Mario looks very different today. Is it like AI? Is this an AI person? Anyhow. Super Mario Brothers 3 is certainly an interesting person. That's for certain.
Tex Rogers is an AI guy. He's too perfect.
Super Mario Sisters. Yeah. It's like the Miss Pac-Man of Super Mario. But it doesn't even look like a female Mario. I don't even know, so random. And
what's that even look like?
I don't really know. Yeah, and the name states Super Mario Brothers 3. So the funny thing about
it kind of looks like Princess? The actress who voices Princess Peach in the movie.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I guess a little. Maybe that he was going for Princess.
I'm on a phone, so I'm looking at it. The box is like super tiny.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of, but not exactly. But I know what you're saying. I'm so curious as to what he was going for. In any case, it's funny because it's not
maybe like Metroid. We'll find out that Super Mario Brothers 3 was a woman all along.
Maybe, but the thing is that it's always amused me that he's not just Super Mario Brothers. He's Super Mario Brothers 3, and usually his avatar was like the case of Super Mario Brothers 3. It's like it had to be number 3. It couldn't be the first one.
The only thing that could really compete with that is if he was Super Mario Brothers World.
Anyhow, I don't know how we got to all of this. Let's go back to going over this episode. Hopefully one day we'll learn what the mystery is. Not her, thanks. Not her, thanks.
It's not her, thanks.
Oh, it looks like the lady in Friends. I see. What's her name in Friends? Was it Phoebe? Is that what it was supposed to be?
Oh.
Phoebe Buffay from Friends. Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you left us guessing. Let's
real change.
Real change, yes. Share screen. The best technology here at Price of Reason Studios. I had to begin it again. Okay. So they're here in the car and they're I did the same one over again. Okay.
I was gonna say, didn't we already real change?
Yeah, no. I did everything wrong, but now I'm fixing it. So so we're back and they're racing. I guess based on this logic, Zoe thinks that they're gonna just fall off a cliff and it's gonna be two birds with one stone. And Al is basically, this is the strange part that he's like, Al, tell me what are the odds of Albert or whatever his name is. What's that kid's name?
There was so much going on in this episode, but names is not something I picked.
Tell me what happens to Arnold. Sam, it looks like he can make it, but you're gonna die. No, we have to save Aaliyah. Aaliyah's here, but she tried to kill you. Yeah, never mind that now. And then
and she didn't.
She actually didn't. I don't really even know. She had a gun, I guess. I don't know.
Right. She was going to, but then she and she was ordered to, and then she didn't. So like he's like, that says more is the fact that she didn't do it.
This looks like a very accommodating stuntman, Ro.
I was thinking that. I'm like, that looks like a stunt dude.
That is a meaty leg.
I think that in both cases, like Scott Bakula, I don't think he jumped out of the car.
Yeah, that doesn't look
No.
like him.
Doesn't look like him.
But he does look closer to Scott Bakula than
Right.
the other guy.
This looks like some dude. This looks like Super Mario Brothers 3.
We're not giving stunt women the credit they deserve here. It could be, it's not always a stunt man in a wig.
No, I think that this case, in this one instance, this kind of looks like a dude. I'm sorry, like I'm not getting like woman vibes. Just the way the wig.
Well, I mean, it could be a Gina Carano body type.
Gina Carano still you can tell it's a woman. It's not. I don't know. It didn't look like
a
female. Anyhow, the car drops, and then at this point, Sam crawls over to her, and then he touches her. He's like, "Hey, I can't believe you're doing that. Don't do it." And then she gets upset, and then they leap, and the plan works. They leap together, and
Al looks like he has a Star Trek communicator on his jacket. See?
This next one, I'm going to be interested to see how they play this next episode out.
I haven't seen this episode in many years. I'm trying to remember. There's some things that I vaguely remember about it, but at some point, in any case, they're here at a jail together. And
it's interesting because we're talking about how this episode should have been a little longer, and this is probably the longest post-credit scene, if you will, into the next episode out of all of them. They probably could have shortened this up a little bit and gave us a little bit more whipped cream, if you will, from Tardis's Backyard's reference, story-wise, to the previous episode. Instead, they went almost 3 minutes more into next week's episode.
I think that people were saying here in the chat that initially they were airing this as a two-hour special.
Mm-hmm, right.
Like 2 and 3 were basically one long double episode. So I guess that's why the division of the times here is weird. But for us, especially when we divide it into actual episodes, yeah, it comes out weird. And it does, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter if they wanted it to be a special or not. The bottom line is I agree with you, Ro. They didn't give, and with you, Nick, they didn't give that other story enough time. There was more to explore there. Everything was rushed. I still don't hate it. But yes, and I even agree, Nick, that Endgame, Avengers Endgame, if it didn't have all those great movies that you saw prior, it wouldn't have had the same impact. Because if you really think about it, there's a lot of loopy, strange things that if you think about them for more than a few seconds, they won't really make a whole lot of sense. But there's so much goodwill once you get to Endgame that you're just like, well, whatever. You just kind of accept it and go along for the ride. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're jumping around, seeing all these characters 5 years later. It's rushed. It's all the ingredients you like, but it's all kind of rushed and jumping around and going everywhere. And some of the plot doesn't make sense, but it's all the stuff you like, so you enjoy it. But it's not.
There's enough to enjoy. There's enough to enjoy there because I don't know. There's just enough moments between actors, scene between characters, things that you're just kind of it's stuff that you wanted to see in a comic book movie, and you're seeing it. But yeah, it doesn't have the structural the same type of structure that, let's say, Infinity War has, which I think is probably the better movie out of the two. Infinity War it does a more solid job at telling its story, whereas Endgame is all over the place, but there's a lot of fun to be had, if nothing else. In any case, back to this thing. They're in this jail, and it's like a woman's jail where there's some warden. She's like kicking them, and she's all badass and doing all this stuff. And then she's like, "Now, one of you is going to tell me which one murdered Maggie Campbell." He's like, Let me talk to her and see what happens. And then trying to think what exactly is going on. Remind me, what are the final sentences here? Oh, it's to be continued. Okay.
Sam says, let me talk to her, but I need to talk to her alone. And the guard says, all right, finally gives in and says, come and step into my office. And it's a broom closet. And she turns to the other guard and snarks and laughs. A broom closet, my office. Get it? No.
Anyhow, yeah, now I remember. In any case, it'll be curious for me to revisit this episode. This is just based on my vague recollection. I think that this episode is less fun than the one that we just watched now. Like, the one we watch now has fun in it, but it's all over the place. Whereas this one, from what I recall, I don't know if it's as all over the place, but I recall it being a little less fun. That's what I vaguely remember. I could be wrong, though. I wonder if Tex Rogers thinks differently than me.
I don't think the first Evil Leaper was more fun.
No, I'm saying that this is number 3. I'm saying that from what I recall, I thought that like Evil Leaper 2 was more fun than Evil Leaper 3.
Yeah.
But I think that Evil Leaper 3 maybe it tells a more cohesive story. It's just not as fun as the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I vaguely remember, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Price of Reason Live TV syndicated version, I mean. Marla Sharendov, I can't believe I got his name right. Whose name? What did I miss here?
I think that we're talking about the character's name.
Could be Diamond Farnsworth doing Scott's stunts for this episode. Is that Diamond Farnsworth or whatever his name is? Now I get it. They were talking about who the stuntman was. Trust me, the chat at this point has just like its own personality. Things happen in the chat. Now I'm jealous. I want to know what the chat is talking about. Evil Leaper. That's how I said it, yeah. Did Super Mario Brothers explain why he's the blonde woman now, or did nobody wants to tell me? Phoebe from Friends. Yeah, it's more serious, the next one. Matthew McGee says this was a pretty good episode. Not perfect, but fun. I give it a 4 gummy bear hand links out of 5. Lisa Katrine, I'll have to watch them both before next week.
It's a memorable episode, I will say that.
Yeah, we rock. Watch us more. Price of Reason Live. Not yet. Not yet. What? Don't even know. In any case, yeah, I think that we watched it. Let me shut down the thing so we can.
Before I had to step out, a thought occurred to me earlier, and this is a time period when they probably wouldn't want to play around with this, but they're going to next week. Is we've only seen the Evil Leaper be another woman, and there was a moment, because I couldn't remember who she was, that I thought that she was going to be Neil Patrick Harris. But because he was being so, annoying and bullyish, that I kind of figured that would be the role of the Evil Leaper. And next episode, the two of them are in a woman's prison. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to try to do research if there was any controversy of that at the time, seeing as they're playing them off as kind of a romantic interest for Sam.
Oh, okay.
And then that made me think that I was going to ask Price, since we're on the Evil Leaper and you've watched the new show, we haven't. I'm assuming I remember you in your reviews talking that they do a bunch of stuff with the Evil Leaper, don't they?
What'd you say?
In the reboot.
What about it?
Don't they do a bunch of stuff with the Evil Leaper in that?
It's the most annoying thing ever. Basically, they try to bring forward their version of the Evil Leaper. Uh, it is so ridiculous and poorly written and so stupid. If you at the end look at all, one of the biggest problems of the new one, and I won't go into this for 7 hours, is that it is complete fly by the seat of your pants. See, the one thing I can say about this show, the original one, it knew what the formula was. Yes, here they pressured them and they tried some different ideas, but they still understood that there was some kind of formula, some kind of structure that they had to work within, and they didn't just go bonkers. I feel like in the new Quantum Leap, the more that Martin Giro guy, who I know you like him, but I think he's a complete hack, the more he lost the plot and didn't know what he was doing, he became more frantic and tried to throw a bunch of, how do I say this nicely, poop on the wall in hopes that something sticks. And the Evil Leaper, you could tell that when he introduced the idea of the Evil Leaper in one episode and then brought him back like 10 episodes later, he had no plan initially. He had no plan the second time he introduced him. Then he brings him back later. He has no plan then. At no moment you could tell that nobody ever thought of this idea of what they were going to do with him. It just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. And it's done so poorly that this looks like an Academy Award winning movie compared to what that Giro guy did with the Evil Leaper. And the most annoying part is that one episode, for no reason, somebody walks out and says, "Hey, I found a file here. It says that there was once Evil Leapers and Sam Beckett met them. Do you know that?" And they're like, "Wow." And that's it. Nobody ever says anything again. It doesn't connect to this guy. Nobody follows up on the dumb thing that they said. It's like in the show, every time they felt that they were losing people that couldn't care less about their stupid reboot, they're just like dangling like the name Sam Beckett, because Scott Bakula didn't even want to be on it. So all they could do is just mention his name. They're like, "Hey," or Al. They're like, "Hey, I have a cigar. Al used to like cigars." It's like, guys, just shut up and do your stupid show, your crappy show. The only thing that was good on the revival was Ernie Hudson, who's a good actor. I feel terrible for him. That they made him go do that stupid show. And the funny thing is, the whole time I was saying, like, complaining why they couldn't give him better stuff to do on the show. And he was always like a team player and nice to the press and everything. And I think sometime after the show ended, he kind of said to some reporter or something, he's like, "Well, maybe they could have given me exactly what I said." But he could only say it like a while afterwards. He couldn't say it immediately.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I guess let's do our summaries. Ro, if you have to sum up what you feel about Evil Leaper 2, what do you think about it?
I think, prior to the show, I didn't see as many flaws in the show as we examined tonight towards the end here. But I still enjoyed it. I liked it. You mentioned the casting, and I think it was a good cast. I think the Evil Leaper and Zoe make a great team, and I wish we could see more of them if there was a season 6. I really enjoyed this episode. It's again, it's something that this last season they were trying a lot of things that most of the things for me didn't work, but this concept of the Evil Leaper undoing things that he's doing, right? I kind of like that. So it would have been great to see more of it. Looking forward to next week to see how that pans out. But it's the better of the season 5 type episodes for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you've said a lot of things that I generally agree with. Nick, what do you think?
I agree with that on that. It's better than a lot of what we've gotten this season. And I think it's an enjoyable episode. I probably went in with a little bit more critical of an eye just because I like the concept of the Evil Leaper. I really wish that we got more episodes of the Evil Leaper. But in that, I wish we either had more seasons or that it was introduced earlier. I would not like it if it just became the Evil Leaper show, kind of like I think Tix Rogers likened it to the Master and Doctor Who when we were talking about the last Evil Leaper episode of, we don't want it to be the Evil Leaper every week. but
but
it would.
once in a while, like Murdoch or Q or something that
Yeah.
it's an event. If you have the Evil Leaper, once, even if it's like once a season or twice a season or whatever it is, that it's something that you don't run into her every time. Ideally, from the first season, if every season there would have been one time an Evil Leaper, it would have been pretty cool. But
yeah, I kind of thought of Murdoch, although I think a better analogy, because she's, there's more of an emotional connect, kind of like how in the newer Doctor Who, how River Song, like any episode she ends up in, it like kind of upends whatever they were originally going to be doing there. It kind of throws it into it. It's going to be a lot more complicated if River Song shows up. But like if the Evil Leaper's there, then this is going to be a complicated leap, and we're in for a treat, kind of thing.
Michelle Ferry never watched the new Quantum Leap. You did great. It's really, it doesn't add anything to anybody. It's just, it's pointless, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Lisa could try to block that show out of my mind. You know what the good thing is? The more time passes, I don't even treat it as though it exists. It's like some dumb crap that I don't even... thankfully, because Scott Bakula refused to be a part of it, somehow it was never fully tarnished. Because if he would have shown up there and they would have done the usual treatment of legacy characters, like they do with Star Wars or whatever it is, and like all these people would have been barking at him and telling him that he's stupid and whatever, once they didn't do that, and this gets to stay the way it was, that show looks just like a joke, which is exactly what it is. And Kit Kat says, I'm so glad I never watched it. And I agree. Kit Kat never watched it. I guess Michelle Ferry didn't watch it. All great decisions. And
2/3 of this panel didn't watch it.
Right.
Yeah, and thank you,
I watched one episode.
Maroxtra did the shout outs, which was nice. Ernie Hudson, yeah, he collected a paycheck. I'm not a hater. He's like in his 70s or whatever it is. If I were in his place and I'm 70 something and somebody's like, here's a check, just come here every week. It's a really sorry, Nick, it's a really crappy show. And the scripts are terrible, but we'll only give you like a scene in every episode. You'll collect a check and you'll leave. It's a good gig. I would take the work when you be 70 something and needing to pay bills, and I'm not a hater. I never was angry at Ernie Hudson. He did the best he could under the circumstances. Not only that, anytime even they gave him the worst screenplay, he tried every scene to really deliver it well. It's just that there's only so much he could do. Murroxtra shout outs: Tex Rogers, Malachi D. Wildman, Lisa Katryan, Ron Donofero, Tracy Alexander, Matthew Marcillo, Julie Evans, Matthew McGee, and Chrissy, Marla Sharondoff, Storm King, Caleb Levine, Maroxtra. Maroxtra is you, yes. Shout outs to Scribelight, Super Mario Brothers 3, the blonde version, yes, Michelle Ferry, Kit Kat, and the panel, Ro, Nick, and Price. Sorry if I missed somebody. First time trying to do this. No, you did great. And if I think Tracy Alexander, was she on the list? I don't know. She was here at the beginning, but sometimes she kind of just comes and goes. I don't know if Caleb Levine was on there, but Matthew Marcillo. I think we got most of the people. If I missed somebody, I apologize. I think that we've interacted with most of the people here at some point or another, and always great to see you all here. I generally, if I had to just give the final, I agree with what you said, Rowan. I agree with what you said, Nick. It's a fun episode. It's up our alley. It's the kind of stuff we like. It's just that I'm a bit greedy, because if they already introduced an idea that I like so much, I would have liked it if the execution was perfection. And instead, it's kind of a messy execution that's still fun, but not as good as it could have been. So but I'm not upset. It's not like a bottom five episode.
Well, it'll be interesting to see when we get to doing, like you were talking about, ranking stuff, where this episode will rank overall.
That'll be an interesting thing to see. So before we go, make sure you're subscribed to the Backyard Tardis, to his YouTube channel. Ro also has a Sacrif Podcast YouTube channel. You can also hear his podcasts on Amazon and Apple and Spotify and all that good stuff. It's the Sacrif Podcast. And I guess I'm going to find our outro. I'm going to play it, and we're going to be on our way. And thank you, as always. It's such a pleasure hanging out with everybody here. And I love that, this little community we have. It grows all the time. There's always another person that kind of runs into our stream and said, well, I enjoy this show. I like doing this. And we're always happy with that. So we'll see you all here next week, Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, Quantum Leap Revisited. Bye.
I'm such an awesome guy.